So, hello, welcome to my new video in my new channel. It's a video, it's kinda a podcast that I will post here on the YouTube. Maybe I will try to post it also in Spotify. My channel is about Dortmund. Probably most of you are coming from my Instagram account. If not, then give it a follow. I'll leave it down in the description. So today you can see on the left that we're going to talk about these topics, about the transfer that Haaland made to Man City that was yesterday, also the 13th of June, that it was made official in the 13th of June. We will talk about the transfer rumors, about our team, so some of them like Raum, Kalajic, Guiri, the Open, all the others, on the other um, players that are connected to Dortmund, about the signings that we have already made, about Adeyemi, Slotterberg, Zule, Ostjan, Meyer, Braff, and Lotka. So the players that are for the first team, not for the under 23 or under 19. And also about the signings that other Bundesliga clubs have made, like Bayern or Leipzig, the biggest clubs, and about the appointment of Edin Terzic and how that will affect our team. If the club made the right decision by sacking Marco Rose. So Haaland to Man City was already announced some weeks ago, when before the last match in the Bundesliga against Hertha Berlin. So this transfer changes a lot in our team because in the recent years, after the signing of Haaland, our team has been heavily connected with Norwegian. So many people talked about the Haaland team and that we only play when Haaland is good and fit, something that is not obvious. It's obviously not true, and it's a time to begin a new era with Sebastian Kehl and not Mikael Zorc, because we have to bring some players in our team because we need to have players that they want to play for Dortmund and they have to stay for many years in our club, and not players like Haaland, not so many players like Haaland that come in Dortmund in order to develop and go to other teams. So we have to stop a little bit to be a selling club and focus on some young players. Yes, some young players that have the dream to stay a lot of years in Dortmund. I have heard that Haaland will not be, that he will not fit in Guardiola's system in Man City. Something that I think it's pretty. It's not true because people claim that Guardiola has never worked with a pure striker, something that it's totally incorrect. Because although at Barcelona he used to have like Villa, Messi, players that were not pure strikers and like false nines, but he has worked with Aguero, he has worked with Lewandowski at City and Bayern. So I think that he's a big transfer for Man City, and if Guardiola knows the way how to make him feel comfortable in the Premier League as soon as possible, then Man City will become more dominant with Haaland. And I would like to see his rivalry with Nunez that has had now for Liverpool. So I think that the signing of Nunez will push Haaland to become even better and score more goals next years. For us, I think that of course we will miss Erling because he was a really good professional, an excellent player, a player with attributes that We have many years to wait in order to see a similar player like him. We have an empty place at the striker. We have to replace him. That we have to replace it, and the options like they're not at the same level like Haaland. In my opinion, I think that replacing Sancho was even more difficult than replacing Haaland, because we have seen that during the years we have brought many strikers that can score goals. Alcácer, we lost Lewandowski, we brought Aubameyang. We lost Aubameyang, we brought Alcácer. Although Alcácer, his second year was not that good and he had many injuries, he scored many goals and important goals. He left and then we brought Haaland. Now the options are not the best, and we go now to the transfer rumors, because the main option, the main target for the replacement of Haaland is Sasa Kalajdzic from Stuttgart. I'm not fully convinced, as I said, for Kalajdzic, but I think that he's not that bad player that the media are presenting. He has scoring abilities, but I think that the main problem with the Austrian is that he's injury prone, and we don't need bad players, especially after this year, where we suffered a lot from the injuries. Players like Guerrero, Haaland, Royce, despite the fact that Royce in the last years has played many games without losing that many. Akanji also was a lot of period out due to injury. Reina, who has lost pretty much the whole year. So I'm not sure that Kalajdzic is the right option. But on the other hand, I think that also the other options like Haller, I'm not also fully convinced of Haller. Like we have seen him in the Bundesliga in Eintracht Frankfurt, and also this year he made a big name for himself in the Netherlands in the Eredivisie with Ajax. But again, I'm not sure that he can fit that much in our team. But I don't know who else we could bring in. Maybe give more time to Mukoko to develop. But is it the right time to give such an important role to Mukoko? I'm not sure about that. Other options about the striker position is another option is Amine Gouiri from Nice. The Frenchman, he is from the academy of Lyon. He's not that that much as a pure striker. He's more similar to Malen and Adeyemi. So he offers more technical things to the teams than scoring abilities or staying in the box and be ready to score goals. But I think that he has big potential. He's a really good player. But I think that Guiri at this time is not the board is not a huge fan of Guiri, so I think that we will not even make an offer for him. So let's leave him for now. So we have Kalajdzic, we have Haller, Guiri, and also at some periods we have heard about Ekitike, but from Reims, I think he's from Reims, from France, another Frenchman. But as things stand, he's ready to join Newcastle. But I see that also the young man, Ekitike, is also pretty much injury prone because he was missing for a period due to an injury, and now he was ready to complete his transfer to Newcastle in the Premier League, but he got again injured. So again, I don't want to bring a player that will miss 15 or 20 games per season. I want a player that he will play most of the games. And now the transfer that I think that we have to bring immediately is Raum. The left back, he's German international. He's coming from. He was playing um, at Greuther Fürth, but now last year he played for Hoffenheim. He's a really talented player, and I think that we have to sign him because as far ahead from the things that I have seen, he's an excellent crosser. And if we manage to bring him, then the transfer of Kalecic, actually the possible transfer of Kalecic, will be a little more successful because Kalecic is really tall and has great heading abilities. So with a good crosser like Raum, he could score more goals with headers from corners and all this stuff. And people are comparing, think that uh, that Raum will be the new Schultz, but I will read you some stats that compare Schultz to Raum. So it's a post from my friend on Instagram, BVB analysis. So I will leave also his Instagram in the description. Go and check him out. So Schultz was playing at Hoffenheim the year 1819 when he was 26 years old, and he played 30 games, scoring 1 goal and making 6 assists. While Raum played this year 32 games with 3 goals and 13 assists. So we can see from the stats that Raum has made a superb season. I don't think that many fullbacks have made a better season than him, especially in the Bundesliga. And I can see that in comparison with Schultz, he's better at everything. Schultz is only better at successful dribbles, and only the times that he has lost the ball. He has lost the ball fewer times than Raum. Yeah, he's created 19 big chances this season and making 2.7 key passes per match, while Schultz has made 2 key matches per match. So we can see from these statistics that Raum is more a complete player than Schultz was. And I think that the fact that Raum is an international player and he has been, and I think that for Raum it's really important that he is playing on an international level with Germany, and that he's gaining experiences through these games, and he's considered the future left back of the German international team. Yeah, many people will criticize his defensive efforts, but when we have been with Guerrero for like six years, or let's say for at least 4 years as our starting left back, I think that Raum will be a better option as a defensive player than Guerrero, because Guerrero was a really offensive player, and he was fitting more in the 3-5-2 system that, or in 3-4-3 system that Favre played, with Hakim and Guerrero on the wings, on the wing backs, and 3 center backs. Yeah, of course, Schultz has to go this year. We cannot afford his salary anymore, and we have to free some money up in order to sign players. And I also think that a player that should leave, he's also transfer listed, is Manuel Akanji, because we have already signed Slotterberg and Zule. So I think that Akanji has no more place in our squad. I think that the 20 million that we're asking are a little bit a low price. I would give him for around 25 or 30 million, um, but his contract expires next summer, so I can understand that the board wants to bring money immediately. So if we manage to sell Schultz and Akanji, then the transfers of both Kalajic and Raum would be more easier, especially for Raum, because Kalajic will not cost that much. It will cost around 20 million. Raum reports claim that Raum has release flows for around 30 million. So this money have to be made from sailings, and this sailing would be Manuel Akanji. So about other transfer rumors, we have posted also on Instagram about Sofiane Diop from Monaco, Dagba from PSG, and also Jed Spence from Middlesbrough. He was playing this year as a loanee. The newly promoted side, Nottingham Forest in the Championship. But I think that Spence will not come. He will go to Tottenham, or he will stay on Nottingham Forest. Both teams will fight for him. And then also about Dagba and Diop, I'm not pretty sure that this interest or the reports are really true. Diop, journalists said that Diop could come in Dortmund as a replacement for Hazard if Hazard left, but I'm not sure that Hazard will leave this summer. If he leaves, then Diop would be a good option if we manage to sell him for around 20 million or something like that. And also about the sales, we have to, in my opinion, keep Brandt because I think that if he can stay fit and if he can play, let's say, at the same level every time, he will be key for our team, and especially from what we have seen last season from Reina, with so many injuries. Then we need a player like Reina who can create a lot of chances, who can score goals, and that player is Brandt. On the other side, about Emre Can, I would really like to sell him. He has a big salary in our team, around 7 or 8 million. So Emre Can is not the best option at the point, at this time. But I also think that if we keep him this summer, then it will not be that bad, because he can cover many positions, especially center back, right back, CDM, center midfield. So he's a versatile type player. He's a player that many coaches need in order to cover some places in the squad. And I think that San should stay if Akanji leaves, because then we'll have only 3 center backs: Slotterbeck, Zule, Hummels, and Akanji, and Zule, and Chan could be the 4th center back, a player that if we need him, he would play as a center back, because we won't have a 4th center back. Only if we bring in the first squad like Collins or Sumalaya Koulibaly from the under 23 and under 19s. So that is about our transfer rumors, and then about the signings that we have made. I will speak briefly for the players that will play in our first team. so not players like Simic that joined the under 23 or under 19s. So talk only for the players that will play in the first team. So about Adeyemi. Adeyemi comes from Salzburg for a fee around 30 million. Um, okay, he's of course a really talented player, and a player that could stay for 3 or 4 years in Dortmund. Um, the only problem about the game is the fee. I think that the fee around 20-25 million will be more realistic and could represent the level that the player is right now, because the 30 million in some years will be really cheap for the Yemi. But for now, I think that 30 million are too much. I'm not sure if he will play all the matches as a starter, because we have Malen, Royce, we have Reina, Brandt, Hazard, so I'm not pretty sure that Adeyemi will be a key player and a starter in all the games. So about Slotterberg. Slotterberg is the player that I'm most hyped for. From what I have seen in Freiburg this year, Slotterberg was superb. I think that I'm really hyped for Slotter, for Slotty. He's an excellent player. He's an excellent player. We have bought him for a really low price for his abilities, like 20 million. It's really low for Slotterberg, um, especially we think that Bayern was also interested in him. I think that he could lead our team in the defense. He's a player that can play really good with his feet. We saw that in the game, in the international matches in the Nations League, Germany versus Hungary, where he made a superb assist to Hoffmann from Gladbach. He's really good, um, a really good tackler. He was first in many lists this year. Also, I will mention from Kicker, the one that stays the best in Zweikämpfer, 2021-2022, where he had a Zweikampfquote from 68.3%. He was in the first place, with Simakan on second from Leipzig and Zule on third place. He's really good. I think he's really good with his head. He has scored many goals this year with Freiburg. He was a leading player in a team that fought for the Champions League. They didn't succeed. They fought bravely for the Champions League. Okay, they didn't do it. They made the Europa League, but also they were in the DFB Pokal final, with Slotterberg being the man of the match in that final for Freiburg. So I'm really hyped for Slotty, and I think that he's our best transfer for now. Then Zule. Zule, I think when I saw about Zule, I got really surprised, because he's a player that has played many years in Bayern. He was their leading center back, and no Bayern fan can doubt that. He was their best center back this season, and his brand name is really big, and I was not expecting him to join Dortmund, especially because he had many proposals, many offers from other teams that offered him double the money or even more money that we offered him. The main problem is that Zule is kinda injury prone. but the experience that he brings in the team, the matches that he has played, he's a Champions League winner, he's a multi-international player, he's played many international games for Germany, he was crowned many times Bundesliga champion with Bayern, and I think that his transfer is also a really, really big one. And if they manage um, to play well alongside, if he manages to playing well alongside Schlotterberg, then our defense will be fired next year, and we will have solved our main problem for many years. Um, yeah, if we manage also to bring Raum, our defense with Kobel, Raum, Schlotterberg, Zula, and Meunier or Morey will be really, really good. And I think this backline will be, if not at the same level, really, really close level with Bayern defense, as in players, because also Bayern is not the best defensive side in the world. So then after Zule is Ostjan. So Ostjan comes from the Cologne Academy, and he has signed for us for a fee around 5 million euros due to a release clause that he has on his contract. I don't have a clear opinion about Ostjan. From what I have seen from his statistics, he's a really good fighter. He's more of a defensive player than an attacking player. He's more a pure position 6 player. But I really don't have a clear opinion about him. I haven't seen him a lot playing in Cologne, neither in the Turkish national team. So I think, especially for for the money that we spend in him, he's a good transfer. But again, I'm not sure that he will be a great transfer. He's alright. I think he's alright. I didn't know him, to be fair. I didn't know where he played or who he was. But from what I have seen, he's a good player. Not at the highest level, not Dortmund level in my eyes, not Gravenberg level also in my eyes, but he's alright. And then about the other 3 transfers like Meyer, Braff and Lotka. Okay, Meyer comes in order to replace Hitz from Regensburg. He was a starter in the Bundesliga 2 this year, so he will be a good replacement, I think. Braff is a really talented player. He was included in the top 50 talents some years ago when he was in the City Academy. He had some injuries that could slow his development, and also a drawback is that he has played only one professional season as a loanee in Serbia at Udinese, where he got injured. I think that he has to play some matches in the under 23 or under 19 to get some game time to find his old form again. But the fact that we were interested in him for such a long period, because he was not a transfer that, okay, he was free and we signed him, but he was on our list also last year, so I will trust the board and the scouting department, because if we want a young player for such a long period, then he will have some talent, and he could develop a lot in Dortmund. And also Lotka, from what I have seen from Lotka, he was the third keeper for Hertha, but he gained some playing minutes because the other two goalkeepers were injured, and when he played, he showed really good um, attributes. He was really decent for Hertha, and that's why I preferred him in the last matches of the season, and also in the playoff finals against Hamburg, the relegation playoffs against Hamburg. The board thinks that he's not at the level to be our second goalkeeper, but again, if Kobel or Meyer get injured, then Lotka is a player that could help our team. I think he will play the majority of the matches in the other 23, but he will also be included in some Bundesliga matches. He could be a really good option if our other two keepers are not available. So that is about our signings. Now let's talk about some generally news from the Bundesliga teams. So Bayern have made for now two signings from Ajax, both of them. Mazraoui joined as a free agent, and Gravenberg joined for around 25 with 30 million euros from Ajax. They're both really young. They have a lot of potential. Mazraoui, he could just go in the Bayern team and start at the right back. He's a really good player. And then about Gravenberg, I'm not sure that he's now at the Bayern level. And maybe many people talk that Bayern signed a 19-year-old that he has a big potential for 25 million Gravenberg, and we have signed Ostsan for 5 million, so that the comparisons again show that Bayern is a bigger team or something like that. But spending 10 million euros on a contract for Gravenberg is a lot. He's 19 years old and he was not a starter for Ajax. He has played this season as an important player for Ajax, only this season. So I'm not sure that spending 10 million on his salary is a good tactic from Bayern. Both are great players. Mazraoui could really fit also in our team. He could play at the right back position. For Gravenberg, I would like him in our team, of course, but I think that it's really early to speak about a huge player and a world-class player. He's not at that level for now. And then about Bayern, there's the Mane deal. So the second Senegalese wants to leave Liverpool, but I'm not sure that he will join this summer Bayern. Reports claim that he's close to Bayern. Maybe he could join, maybe he couldn't join. I'm not sure that Bayern will give 50 million for him, 50 million that Liverpool are asking for him. And then, is he the man to replace Lewandowski? If Lewandowski doesn't leave the club, then Mane will not come. And I'm not sure that Bayern intend to sell Lewandowski and to bring Mane as his replacement. If Lewandowski leaves, I'm not sure that Mane is the perfect replacement for him, because if they bring Mane, then there is a big possibility that Gnabry will also leave the club, because Gnabry has a contract until 2023, and Bayern do not want to extend his contract and give him around 16 million that he's asking for. So I'm not fully sure that Mane will come this summer in Bayern. If he comes, he will be a really, really good player. He could score easily 25 goals in the Bundesliga, at least 25 goals in the Bundesliga. But I think for Mane, that it will be a big, that he will not develop. He's already 30 years old, that he could not make a step further in his career if he joins Bayern. Because, in my opinion, I'm not sure that Nagelsmann could lead Bayern in a Champions League final or to dominate the world football. So for me, Mane should stay at Liverpool or should go to other teams like Real Madrid. Okay, Man City I will not tell because he wouldn't do that. But Real Madrid, PSG only if they bring a serious coach because Pochettino or Emery, they're not that kind of coaches. They have to bring a man that could handle um, not many superstars. Like Zidane could be an option, Mourinho could be an option. So that's another discussion. If money comes to Liverpool, it will be a good signing for Liverpool, but I would prefer to sell. I would prefer buying, selling Lewandowski and bringing money than keeping Lewandowski and don't bring money. So Lewandowski goes out, money comes in. It is a problem for us because money is really, really good player, a really talented player, and he has proven himself in the highest stage. But I prefer him still for Lewandowski because he doesn't have the know-how to play in the Bundesliga. He's not experienced in the league. So once again, I say that I prefer Lewandowski to leave. I prefer Mane to come. I prefer Mane than Lewandowski in order to have more possibilities to success, also to compete with Bayern in the Bundesliga race. So about Leipzig then. Leipzig have to deal with two of the biggest players. They have to deal about the transfers, Guardiola and Nkunku. Nkunku, his season was superb. He made an excellent season. If he made those stats in the Premier League or in Spanish, in La Liga, he could be considered in top 10 in the Ballon d'Or. He was really, really good. A really talented player. Leipzig want to keep him, but I'm not sure that if big clubs are offering for him, that he could stay. Like we say Manchester United, we say Newcastle, we say Chelsea, we say Tottenham, clubs that have money. Then Leipzig has not the history, has not the reputation, has not the team to keep Nkunku because he would like to join a bigger club to develop his play style and become even a bigger name than he is right now. And also Guardiola. Okay, Guardiola, I think it's really early to consider him one of the best centre backs in the world. He's really good. He was in the Bundesliga team of the season this year, the Croatian centre back, but we have time to see him more playing in a big stage because until now he played only until last year he only played in the Croatian league with Dinamo Zagreb. So I'm not sure that Guardiola right now, after only 1 year in a big stage, is ready for making a big step. But I think that Leipzig could lose a really important player if the Croatian decides to join like United or Leipzig, to join United or Newcastle or Chelsea that are interested in him. And so about other teams, I will not talk about transfers only for Schalke, rivals that got promoted this year. I think they have signed Molet, or how do you pronounce it, a central attacking midfield from Montpellier, from the French league. Okay, for Schalke, for this Schalke, he's a really good signing. I think he's an okay player. He could help him. He could help them to not be relegated again this year because I think that they don't have the squad to compete for bigger goals. because they have lost Ikatura, was one of their best players last year. They could not trigger his option from Man City in order to make his transfer permanent. And also, I have seen today um, the post that Rasica wants to leave Norwich, and Schalke are interested in the Kosovarian. But also, the same report claimed that these rumors are not fully true. I don't think that right now Schalke have the money to pull Rasica as a transfer. And then about Kovac in Wolfsburg and Farke in Gladbach. Kovac in Wolfsburg is a good. He's a good signing as a head coach for Wolfsburg because he's a manager that has made some really successful years in the Bundesliga. Okay, he was a Bayern coach. He was one of the worst recent Bayern coaches because um, the title he won the title only 4 points with a gap only of 4 points, and also next year until um, and also in the next Flick. And also in his second year until Flick was signed as his replacement, Bayern were not doing a really good job. They were 7 or 8 points behind Dortmund, so he was not a coach that could compete in such a high level. I kinda have the same opinion about Nagelsmann, and I really don't think that Nagelsmann is a coach for Bayern. For Leipzig, for Wolfsburg, for Gladbach, he's a good coach. But for Bayern, I think that Bayern have to search for something bigger, for a more experienced manager, because Nagelsmann at this time is not a world-class manager. Okay, he has won the league, but last year's Dortmund last year was really bad, with players that could not compete for the Bundesliga, and we have to see what Terzic will make next year with our squad and how he will manage the players that he will have. Because we have seen that in the short period that Terzic was a manager, he made a 3 out of 3 against Nagelsmann, one victory, one with a score 1-3 in Leipzig. Then we won 3-2 in Signal Iduna Park with a late goal of Sancho that pretty much secured the Champions League, and also the victory in the DFB Pokal with an emphatic score 4-1 against Nagelsmann Leipzig. And then about Daniel Fark in Gladbach. I'm really not sure that Fark is the right man for Gladbach to appoint. They wanted Favre, our former coach. He didn't want to come back to the Bundesliga. Farke was a free agent after his period at Norwich. He's a former Dortmund manager in the second team. I'm not sure that he could lead Gladbach in their back form, in the recent form, and have lost this I'm not sure that Farke could bring something more than Adi Hütter did last year at Gladbach. Okay, they could bring back Marco Rose, but I think that the fans wouldn't accept that because the German manager left under really bad conditions to join us. But Farke, nah, I'm not 100% sure that he is the man for Gladbach. And also about Kovac, I did not finish that Kovac he is a really good option for Wolfsburg in opposition to Farke for Gladbach, and because Kovac has proven himself at Frankfurt, he is won with Frankfurt the FB Pokal against Bayern, so I think that Kovac is a good option for Wolfsburg. And then we have to talk about our manager, our new manager, Edin Terzic. Okay, I think that his recent successful period, his successful 6 months as interim head coach, make us to believe that he will succeed, but that's not the case. We have to wait. We have to see what kind of players will come. If Raum comes, if Aller comes, if Haaland comes, one of these players have to come in order to make Terzic's job easier. We have signed many experienced coaches in order to help him, like Patrick Herrmann, who is one of the best German coaches around. He has worked for Schalke, for Bayern, so I think that he's a really experienced one that could help Terzic in his first permanent head coach job. Okay, the main problem is that Terzic has not the same players that he had in his first period. He has no Haaland, he has no Sancho, he has no Delaney. Probably, yeah, these three players, I think, that played the major. These three players were really important for Terzic, and I'm not sure that the players that we have right now could fit Terzic's plan, because our team, with Terzic as a head coach, was more defensive, and he had players up front that he knew that we could create 3 or 4 chances in a game, and 2 of them could be a goal. I'm not sure that these players that we have right now have this ability. Like Kalajic, Malen, or Adeyemi are players that can score goals, but they're not scoring machines like Haaland or Sancho, or creating machines like Sancho. So we have to wait for Terzic, and we have to keep the ball low and not set high expectations for him, because if he fails to fulfill these expectations, then we will be really disappointed with him, and we will have to search for a new manager, and we don't want that. So this was my first episode. This was my opinion about all the topics that we spoke in this episode, and I hope that you liked my video, my podcast. Leave a comment in the comment section. Follow me in Instagram to see more daily content, and see you in our next episode.